This was a case that occurred January the 8th of 2017. Around 3 p.m., the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office was dispatched to a residence at 378 Morris Drive here in Gaffney, South Carolina. Upon arrival, officers found a female victim in a home with a gunshot wound. They immediately secured the home. EMS came in, began to render aid, transported the victim to the hospital where she later died of the gunshot injuries she had sustained. The investigation went on for months and months from January of 2017 through today. And this particular case, we had a person of interest from the very beginning. This person went to prison for some unrelated charges. We charged this individual, Joshua David Mosley. We charged him with obstruction of justice. He took some evidence out of the home the day of the shooting, tried to hide that underneath a bridge on Packlet Highway here in Cherokee County, and our investigators recovered that evidence the same day. They processed that. We charged him in October for the obstruction of justice based off the evidence he took from the home, and we processed it and confirmed it in fact came from that home during this incident. Later, we discovered through the investigation, talking to the property owner, the landlord of the home, that he had not rented the home to Mr. Mosley or any of the other people that were there that day. And so we were able to charge him with a burglary first. And there was a question through the investigation, was he the trigger man? Was he the person responsible for Janika's death? And so the investigation continued through the statements we had to get from individuals. We had to wait on some lab work to be performed, tests to be done by the State Law Enforcement Division, as well as getting phone records from multiple people that we know was at the home prior to the shooting and leading up to the minutes just before the shooting. And we were able to get all those records, and we were able to tie this case back to Joshua David Mosley, and we're confident that he is the person who murdered Janika Hopper, and he was charged with that murder today. And he also was charged with possession of a weapon during a violent crime. And I know this morning during the bond hearing, he alluded to the fact that Ms. Hopper may have committed suicide, and I will tell you that that's not the case. Typically what you see is a person commits suicide, the people find the person, they call law enforcement, medical personnel. People don't start taking things out of the home to hide or destroy evidence. The other part of this case is we feel like, based off statements that we got, we know that he made phone calls to certain individuals that our investigators found during their investigation, and that he admitted that he had shot her. And so we're confident that our guys made the right charge of murder, and we feel like justice has been served initially, and now the family can wait for justice to take place as the case moves through the judicial process and the court system. But again, this is a case it obviously took more than a year, but these cases, there's no timeline on when a case is going to be closed, when you're going to make the arrest. Every case is different. But this is one where investigators worked month after month, and just to make sure that they had everything that they needed to get to the point that we had probable cause to obtain an arrest warrant, and the magistrate agreed that we had enough probable cause, and a warrant was subsequently issued, and he's been charged.
What was his relationship with her?
They were acquaintances. I'm not sure beyond that. I would describe their relationship as being acquaintances. They knew each other, and they were at the home together. This was not a random act of violence. She had went to the home there that he had entered into unlawfully by breaking into the home, and she was there, and at some point in time a gun was displayed and she was shot. And as far as the motive as to why, we're not going to discuss that and release that at this point in time. We'll save that for the court appearance.
Can you talk a little bit more about why it took this long? Was there certain information that you were waiting to get back, or why did it take so long to get the charges?
Obviously, when you send stuff to the State Law Enforcement Division, there's a time period there for that to be analyzed, to get the results back. There's things that our guys analyze locally in our crime lab, and then you have to put all that together. You have to sit down and look and say, okay, what all do we have? What's missing? What else do we need? This was a case where multiple people were at the home, and it involved us getting search warrants and our subpoenas for phone records for multiple people. And so we dealt with multiple phone carriers, and those phone carriers do not provide you these results overnight. Some are very responsive to law enforcement. They get it to you very quickly, and some of them just simply get it to you when they want to. And so we dealt with 3 different phone carriers to get the information that we needed to corroborate statements and to put everyone back at the scene. And so it took time to get all that information, and then for investigators to sit down, review the case, and then meet with a solicitor, and then ultimately the decision was made that we had all the pieces of the puzzle that we needed to move forward with the murder charge.
Are you able to say what the piece of evidence was that he tried to destroy?
I'm not going to discuss that, but I will say that he took things out of the home that clearly should have been left in the home, and he took things out that, again, he should have left in the home if he had nothing to hide and he was innocent and didn't have anything to do with her death.
What's it been like, y'all's relationship with the family? How have they been in communication with you guys?
We have, and it's been tough for the mother, and called her yesterday with the news and told her that the charge was about to occur, and she was ecstatic, she was emotional. And I've told her, I've met with her numerous times here at our office. I've talked to her on the phone, both Ms. Janika Hopper's mother and her grandmother, and you know what, they have been very patient. And there's numerous times that I knew that they were frustrated, and I just kept saying, Ms. Dowdle is the mother. I said, please be patient. And she said, Sheriff, I trust you. And I said, just allow our investigators to do their job. I said, that way it's done and it gets done right. We don't rush something and we miss something, and then we end up losing the case on a technicality. So she was very patient, and she would call. Oftentimes she would call and just say, hey, where are we? What are we waiting on? And we kept her abreast of where the investigation was, either with me talking with her directly, or she talked a lot to our victim advocate, and Ms. Caldwell would speak to her on a regular basis, and my secretary. But this is one that she certainly was patient. But again, for us to make the charge of murder, which is one of the most serious charges that any individual can be charged with, we wanted to make sure it was right. And like I say, there is no textbook answer on how fast a case should be made or how slow it should be. And so again, it's based off the evidence that's gathered. And sometimes there's cases that even go much longer than this before you're able to make a charge. And so we're just thankful for the family that we've been able to bring resolution up to the point of a charge being made. And now we'll walk with that family through the process of the judicial system to see that they get the justice that they deserve for the death of Janika Hopper.
Are you guys familiar with Mosley here in Cherokee County?
We're familiar with Mosley. Again, you want to say he's a lifetime criminal, but he's only 25 years old. So he is someone that has been in and out of trouble with law enforcement his young adult life.
Is there anything else I haven't asked you that you'd like to say?
I think that's it.
All right, thank you, Sheriff.
Okay, thank y'all very much.